Hey guys, it's Justin right here with Justin Time Construction. Right now we're gonna burn a seam. I got my seam iron right here. It's preheating on 3. I already have my seam here cut, seam tape put down. We're ready to do the seam. So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna start the seaming process, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna seam both of these carpets together, and then we're gonna roll it and track it. We make sure that all the carpet naps are going in the same direction. That way it don't look visible to the eye, and it looks good. So I'm gonna set this down here, and you're gonna start seeing the seam process. So I'm gonna get my tractor ready, and then I'm going to get my iron ready here. I have my plate down there for when I'm done. I can take it off the iron and I can put it up. So things I like to keep with me are a kicker sometimes to move the carpet around, a roller, seam iron roller, and then some shears to cut the little naps as we go. So I'm gonna get started. Take my seam iron out, put my plate down here, and then I'm going to run the carpet, let this heat up. And as that heat up, I'll give it a little bit of time. I'll look, make sure my carpet's lined up right, everything's good. On the seam tape, whenever you do it, you wanna make sure that these 2 blue lines here, one carpet on this end and one carpet on this end, and then they line up, and that's where you want to meet your carpet whenever you do this and you seam this together. It's a little process, so I like to move like an iron length at a time. I let it sit for a little bit, it depends, and then I can feel with my iron as I move. I can know that the glue is melted enough to bond, and you know, once you get the feel of it, you know. So I'm gonna start steaming. So what I'm gonna do is kick this carpet just a hair back this way. There we go. Get me back up on that wall there. All right, and now what we're gonna do, we got a cross seam here because obviously we had to put a seam along this back wall as well, which is when you do a cross seam. That's another video. I'm gonna have to show you how to do a cross seam whenever we do cross seams. So basically in the cross seam, you don't want when you do a cross seam, you don't want your tape to go all the way to the end. You want your tape to stop about the width of the tape. Like, I'm gonna do a little demo here for you as I'm doing this. So basically, whenever we do a cross seam, all right, get that there. I'll let you guys see what we're doing here real quick. All right, as we're seaming it together, you see the carpets joining together, and you shouldn't see that much of a line at all. And what I like to do, I call this here the shark fin. As I go, I pinch that, and I make sure that we close the gap as we're seaming the carpet together. So that's my little trick right there. But anyways, I'm gonna get back to you guys on this cross seam here. We're gonna reach it here in a second. I'm gonna open that up, and then I'll show you what the cross seam is there. And this is basically how you do a seam here. So as if I gotta seam the carpet going this way, and I gotta seam the carpet this way, that's where your cross seam's gonna come in at. Because you gotta seam the carpet here, and you gotta seam the carpet here, and you don't want your tape to overlap. If your tape overlaps, you're gonna create a hump in your carpet, so you usually wanna stop the width of what a tape is and allow it a perfect transition from a cross seam. So that's like a tip, and I'll do another video at another time when I got time to do a cross seam. But basically, that is a little tip on how to do a cross seam, that's the way I like to do it. Some people like to get a weight and put a weight here, which you're supposed to do, and it helps it breathe. Put a weight on your seam as you're going along, and you want that weight. What the weight does, it allows it to breathe, and it keeps it compression on to the seam tape, so it can adhere and bond your tape good to the backing of the carpet. In this demonstration, we're not using the seam tape. We're along this back wall here with a bump out. There's going to be no traffic, you know, here. So we're going to get away with being able to do this without the seam weight on this demonstration. But other demonstration, I like to use the seam weight when I go and I do a seam anywhere where there's going to be a high traffic area. Ideally, this right here is just a little seam along a bump out of the wall. If you look, the wall is bumped out. I can show you when we're done here. That is why I'm not using the seam iron. So I can tell you how good this is coming along here. So you see the two carpets, we're seaming together here, and you see the seams looking really nice. It's transitioning. Tractor a little bit, roll it. See how it's coming together? And that's what you want to look for when you do a seam. That's what I like to do. So I run my iron, like I said, on the 3. If the carpet is a little bit more like, let's say, you got to be easy with it. The carpet can't withstand. Let's say if the carpet can't withstand heat, I like to keep it down a little bit more, a little less, and I just let my iron stay on it a little bit longer so it can melt the adhesive. But this area I'm at right now, I'm going to show you real quick, is where I'm at my cross seam at. So my cross seam is right here. So if you see, I got one there, one here. That's my cross seam, and this is where I'm going to seam that up, and that's what I was telling you about with the tape, that how you want to do your tape when you come to a cross seam. And I'll show you what it looks like when we're done with the cross seam here, which it's not going to look bad, and if you do it right. Now, if you do it wrong, your cross seam will have a big hump there, and it won't look good. So very important on that cross seam to make sure you do that cross seam right when you do your taping and everything on your cross seam. So this cross seam right here is going to go there, go there. There we go. You get the little nap shears, let that sit for a while, and then we'll come back and we'll be delicate with that. That's a delicate area. Okay. And then keep running your seam. Tractor this way for the cross seam, and then tractor this way for the cross seam. And try to be very, very easy as you do that. So that way you don't get no problems there.